And give you some updates from that Soul Razor Blader series. As we do have to the bottom left-hand side, our red Terran player. This is MarineLorD. And to the top right-hand side, our blue Zerg is Stephano from Gamers Origin. Two French players on two French teams. Gamers Origin and O Gaming. GO versus OG. Ay, ay, ay. How about that, eh? So, yeah, kicking this off. We were just watching that Soul Razor Blader series, waiting for this game to start, guys. Again, we'll hopefully have some more updates from that game for you guys as it goes as well. So I'll keep a corner of my eye on it. As for now, the TVZ is not opening with any sort of proxy, though. And as we get this underway, we look to see just what's going to be happening. So MarineLorD drops down a command center, pretty standard Reaper expansion from him. Now, obviously, we saw MarineLorD a bit earlier, going for just some pretty straight up Hellbat attacks into mech play. So proxy racks, mech play, Hellbat attacks. Those are the kind of things we were expecting from MarineLorD in the previous best of 3 TVZ that we saw him against a laser. And we saw him, I think, against another Zerg as well earlier in the bracket. Who did MarineLorD play again? Against Crow. Yes, we watched him versus Crow, then we watched him versus a laser. I remember now. As we do have Factory about to finish up here from MarineLorD, Command Center on the way out here as well on the natural expansion. We do have the Factory going to jump on and start building a couple of these Hellions. So a couple of Hellions is on the way. Again, Reaper heading up towards the top right-hand side. Third hatchery dropping down to the left from Stephano. And again, that link speed coming up. Couple of Hellions, Starport, everything you kind of expected to be for the moment. The single Marine will poke the Overlord away. Stephano got knocked down to the lower bracket early in the tournament by Soul Spirit, who then went the distance and ended up in the qualifying match, although it didn't actually qualify. He is now down in the lower bracket qualifying match, waiting quite a while probably for an opponent to show up. These two Hellions and the Reaper. Taking a little bit of damage there. Third hatchery from Stephano finishes up to the left side. MarineLorD currently not able to break through towards the natural. Armory come down here as well for MarineLorD. So there's that setup for the Hellbats like we've talked about before. So setting up towards that now. And we are just going to be seeing the Overlord finally here gets taken down. The racks actually lifted up and came over to give the high ground vision. So that was pretty cool. What's up, Ed Scottney123? Thank you so much for the 5 months free sub. Said I saw you were kicking some ass in Twitch rivals last night, then had to go out. How'd you finish up? I lost my show match to ZvT. I came last place in the free for all, and I came last place in the free for all. What else did I do? I got second place tied in the ladder race. I got a 7-3 score, which is pretty good. As you see, Hellions woven into Hellbats here. Reaper goes down, and we are going to be seeing these Hellbats, well, pressing in, but there's plenty of Lings, and honestly, I don't see these doing all too much. A Liberator will set up on the natural at the same time. Obviously, a lot of the Queens are preoccupied dealing with the Hellbats here, so... Oh my god, he actually sieges up where there's actually just nothing, like, at all. A couple of Hellions run by as well. Like, he just didn't hit a single drone with this Liberator, so... Missed maybe a bit of an opportunity there. A little bit of a shame as MarineLorD kind of getting shut down on every front that he tries to be aggressive on right now. Back at home, he gets a command center start, though. A couple SCVs, Hellions, and a Liberator going. So gets that set to go. Since several started streaming, everyone is like, aye. I mean, there's something that many people said before several streamed. Trust me. I got it off Roddy. I hung out with Roddy about this time last year for like an IEM qualifier in Poland, and I came back home saying aye a lot, and I say it all the time now. Because Roddy had a very good story about someone who said which is why it which is why I mean, he was saying a lot too, and that's why he picked it up from, and it's just spread through the StarCraft universe. Liberator going to come into the top. We are going to be seeing the Hellions going to pick off a Zergling. So one thing already going down. A couple of creep teamers in the front. Liberator will siege, and the Queen's going to get underneath again. A fairly unsuccessful Liberator gets a transfuse off the Queens, 2 I guess in the end. Switching it up into that Hellion Cyclone. Macfield accelerated to start things off. Stephano is still building into melee upgrades, so we'll see if he wants to try and go into the Lingbane defense against this like a Laser did back on that Blue Shift game against Clem just a little while ago. Some Hellions still hanging out in the center of the map too from MarineLorD. Now you're going to be coming up into the middle. There is again that creep pushing forwards. We see the Macfield still coming in. Factory building up a tech lab. That's about to finish. The reactor is just over halfway done there as well. And there is that Baneling Nest from Stephano coming in the back of the natural expansion. As you do see the Zerglings of Stephano, they are going to come down the right-hand side, and they are going to see what they can do. 20 Morlings on the way up, as we'll see this Liberator sieging is going to be able to get rid of a good amount of these drones. Quite a lot of drones going down there. Queen is going to pull back in time as well. Again, man, these Liberators are so consistent. That's what the one thing I do say. Despite them not having been very good throughout the game so far, they are extremely consistently continuing to just come back again and again and again, which is pretty nice. I mean, eventually you're going to deal damage with it, right? By the way, over in the TVT, they're currently base trading, but I think Razorblade actually has the advantage. So I kind of feel like Razorblade, well, they're not base trading anymore, but Soul is no longer dealing damage. Okay. Well, again, I'll give you updates on that as we go, but for now we see Cyclones and Hellions coming in to be able to push those couple of Queens away. He's going to get on top of this base, but Lings are going to run by from the third now through into the natural. And then we've seen Hellbats on the ramp will be able to hold these off. It's the issue of Lings. We do see the Banes coming forwards now as well. A couple of units starting to turn it around. The Banes honestly not getting that much splash damage done here. Again, it's the second time today we're seeing this kind of Ling Bane response to the Cyclone Hellion style. It's interesting. Usually we've been seeing a lot of kind of fast hives and stuff like that to move into Vipers and so on. Razorblade, by the way, picks up game 1 against Soul. Big win for him there. It's going to be seeing those Zerglings coming around and just going to grab a good surround on Hellions and the Cyclone. Very nicely done. As you have the Lings and the Banes from Stephano. They're going to come through the center and down to the bottom side of the map. Ling is going to be taking a little bit of damage once again there. Some Banes still setting up. I mean, Stephano is very committed to this, though. I mean, if you don't do a lot of damage here, he's only on 61 workers. He is going into Hive and a few Infestors as well, trying to slow this army down so the Fungals can then allow for, the next stage of it. The Fungal units, they're very slow, then the Banes crash in. You see those couple of Queens continue to run away back through the top side. Cyclones are going to lock on once again. This hatchery is going to drop down. And it's coming back around the right-hand side. Link counterattack once more, but I feel like these link counterattacks are really starting to do less and less. Stephano is bleeding out a lot of units recently, and it's kind of shown in the supply. It's 95 to the 134. MarineLorD just has a little bit too much at the moment. Has just been taking some real good trades the last few moments. As you see the Hellions and the Cyclones continue to press forwards. A couple of creep teamers getting picked off. Some more creep up on the top side also getting picked away at as well. Lord locked onto. I mean, those Infestors are really going to have to be lifesavers here because MarineLorD is beating Stephano down at the moment. And Stephano is in a real tough spot trying to get out of this. Hellions and those Cyclones from MarineLorD back over to the right. I'm going to see a lot more of these in the center now. There's a couple of Liberators moving around as well. On the bottom, we see the 4th command center is now finishing up. There's Hellions and Cyclones going to come in and force to cancel on the new 4th base. The other 4th base is on the way up as well. see the Hellions and Cyclones continue to press forward. Liberator sieging up. We are going to see them able to pick off that hatchery nice and quickly. So hatchery going down. We're going to be seeing the Banes and Lings on the top side, cleaning up a couple of Hellions there as well. But you're being kept on free bases. Stephano, what are you going to do? I mean, you're actually getting towards being supply blocked as well because you're continually losing Overlords. Another little run by doesn't really kill that much. I mean, a couple of workers here or there. Really not that much at all, as we see MarineLorD pulling back now into the center once again here. And, well, this army, Hellion, Cyclones, Liberators, all gathering up to well, push on in towards the third base. And I mean, just maybe deal the final blow. Zerg has been pretty resilient at the moment. Got a couple of Liberators mixed in there as well. As those Banes finishing up, thinking about maybe trying to roll forwards here. Banes come through, and they are just gonna not really do much, I guess, in the end. I wanted to believe they were on their way to do something. Another counterattack, I mean, sure, but MarineLorD's so aware of it. He has a sensor tower up. Nothing is really done with this, and again, MarineLorD is up 50 supply, and is slowly just beating away at Stephano until he gives on up, because there's not much more to play for. I tell you what, we've seen those Infestors come out. I don't think we ever actually saw the Infestors come into play here. I feel like they haven't landed a single fungal growth or anything. And now they're not really going to have much of a chance. This time really is truly ticking away right here. Couple of Banes rolling in here and there. I mean, Cyclones and Hellions pushing up the ramp again. Those Banelings going to finish morphing, but now this third hatchery is under fire from the Cyclones. Well, here you go. The fungal lands, and I mean, a few Banes connect, but you're killing like 2 Cyclones for like so many units of your own. Link counterattack will again keep. I mean, in fairness, Stephano's keeping MarineLorD from mining comfortably, but it's still not that bad, I don't think, considering Stephano was hardly mining comfortably himself. So oversaturated across all of his bases here. He's just now got that top left base up and this base up as well. So for a moment, actually, MarineLorD has let up the pressure on those bases to instead focus on this kind of forward push at the front. He's going into a couple of tanks now, which should be good for him to kind of siege up and to actually force the fight a bit more reliable than those siege tanks here. Another Liberator presses a bit further forwards too. Again, Cyclone's just going to lock on the Banes. I mean, that's the thing now. Units are going to take damage from a distance, and oh my god, 3 Infestors going down as they just run into Liberator and siege tank range. That is brutal. As we do see, this hatchery is about to drop. So hatchery will go down. Here's the Cyclones. Seeing the Corruptors. Broodlords on the way out. Well, I mean, I feel like we've seen this once before today, where Broodlords are like trying to be the last minute, I've survived long enough to get them, can they save me attempt. But, I mean, really, dudes, I mean, we saw how he did it against the laser, and he was in a much... He wasn't in this good a position against the laser, and he was able to take the Broodlords down there. I don't think the 6 Broods are going to be enough to save him, as we're going to be seeing all of these drones. It's a barbecue and a half. Celebration for that, as we see these Queens transfusing up what they can. I mean, 4's on the way out. The Broods push this back, but Stephano knows there's no real redeeming himself here. GG's, and MarineLorD takes game number 1 of this best. To pass over 3,000 viewers, hello everybody, welcome to the stream. It's so great to have you with me. Again, I'm Wardy, and I'm casting the WCS Winter European Qualifiers today and tomorrow. So if you're interested in watching some more WCS Qualifiers, tomorrow is the time to tune in. Tomorrow we start at the exact same time, 4 p.m. CET. That's 10 a.m. East Coast America, 7 a.m. West Coast. It is, I believe, midnight in Korea. So make sure you check it out if you want to come watch again tomorrow. And it's going to be the exact same time on Sunday for the 3rd qualifier of Europe. And on Saturday, we start a bunch earlier for the American server, or the Americans, WCS America, WCS Winter America, but it's the Asian server qualifier for it, because they also have Taiwan and so on lumped in there with them. So that final qualifier is on the Taiwanese server, actually, and that'll be on Saturday. That'll be our content for the day then. Top right-hand side, our red Terran player, up by 1 in this best of 3. Thank you for the patience between the games, guys. Obviously, with so many casters casting these, takes a little while to get into the lobbies. This is MarineLorD up against the blue Zerg player. To the bottom left-hand side from Gamer's Origin, we have got Stephano. another round of this TVZ, and I wouldn't be surprised if MarineLorD played a very similar style, because even though Stephano was very resilient in the early stages of the game, Liberator after Liberator initially didn't do much until finally one broke through, and the Hellbats didn't do much either, and yet he still seemed to control the game. I wonder what Stephano kind of changes up here. Was it the composition? I kind of tend to think so. He got the Infestors up, but then he never really used them while he actually had enough Banes to help. So it was a bit of a tough spot for Stephano, and he definitely didn't dig himself out of it with the Ling Bane. So I wonder what he does this time around. Different composition. I feel like the run-bys as well were good for a time, but they also started to become a bit too much. Because it got to the point where every time we saw a run-by, we'd go and look at it, and it's like, oh, 20, 30, 40 Zerglings have just run into a few Hellions, and they got roasted. And it's just not even, like, it was not even distracting MarineLorD, because Stephano was just like, oh, well, I mean, you know, MarineLorD was just like having his reinforcements there, right? So maybe the run-bys either be more inventive with them, perhaps, or I don't know. They did good for a while. I don't think run-by is a bad idea. But be more cautious with them, because I feel like Stephano was like, oh, this is working, so he just did it, and he just kept doing it. He just didn't stop to think, oh, I'm actually losing quite a lot now. Maybe I need to be a bit more careful with them, send them elsewhere. Stuff like that. What's up, Neuron1681? Thank you so much for that Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do you see this Reaper coming through the third base and heading across down to the bottom left-hand side? So MarineLorD obviously looking to apply a little bit of pressure here. The starport setting up in the main base and getting this going. And as we see the link speed on the way up as well. Dastardly Horse in the chat and says, I was watching Woody's Brawl Stars stream and he told me to come check out this game. And now he has free K viewers. Yeah, it turns out people like me watching me play StarCraft a bit more than Brawl Stars. I'm actually going to stream some Brawl Stars hopefully this week still. I'm just in a bit of a tight spot for when I have time to do stuff because of house stuff being done and all of that sort of thing. Reaper from MarineLorD pushed away here initially. Two Hellions just gathered up with that Reaper right there. As we do see the Queens are obviously keeping this pretty safe right now. It's a very fast armory from MarineLorD, so he's going to get the medevac out. And he's just going to go for like a Hellbat attack very quickly. With the medevac to help with some healing, of course. Let's see what he's going to do. The supply depots drop down on the natural. There's the two Hellions from MarineLorD starting to move across down towards the bottom left-hand side. Jordan's getting started from Stephano, going to be about halfway done. We do see an evolution chamber from Stephano coming up here as well. The medevac loads up and MarineLorD will run on over to the left-hand side. So it's going to be 4 Hellbats in the main, and the other Hellbats are going to start running in towards the third base. And that's going to be all about trying to pull his opponent apart. He's in the main base. He actually doesn't even morph in the Hellbats. He just goes in with the Hellions. Stephano not ready for this. 5 workers down already, and now he lifts up those Hellions. We'll get out of there. The other Hellions now do morph into Hellbats, and they will hit the third base as Hellbats. I think all the Queens, well, all the Queens, yeah, they pulled up towards the main, and now obviously the attack coming towards the third. It's going to be a little bit of a frustration as these Hellions are going to struggle maybe a little bit to try and drop back down into the main. You see that command center dropping down as a third base as well, so MarineLorD is expanding behind this as you would expect. And Stephano is going to already opt for Roaches, which probably means he's going to not play Ling Bane only, going into the next stages of this as well, which is also quite nice. As we see, those 4 Hellions are going to start coming down. Oh, Hellions in the main do get to morph into Hellbats, which also means they get a bit of healing on them. If the Roaches here, there's probably not much you can do. He's going to try and Hellion mode them up so he can save 3. He does. The reason for that is the Hellbats are just a bit larger than Hellions, so they take up 2 slots in the medevac. Whereas the Hellions only take up, well, it actually is, it takes up, Hellbat takes up 4 slots and the Hellion takes up 2, so basically they have twice the capacity, and yeah, obviously that means if you morph them into Hellions you can pick up more of them. As they move back into Hellbats now though, a couple of drones are stuck on this Queen, as this Hellbat's stuck on the other Hellbat, so still a little bit of a mess all over the place in this main base. As MarineLorD backing away with the Hellbat. His Liberator was coming across now. We'll go back home. Maybe feels like he needs something to defend. Just gives you Queens. He runs the other Hellbat away and eventually turns the medevac back to get that Hellbat now again. Third command center from MarineLorD has finished up here and we'll be able to morph into an orbital as well. So morphing that in as the lair on the main base, that's about to finish up. So finishing that lair up, we'll be able to go in towards roach speed, of course, improve the speed of these roaches. And, well, from there, again, hopefully have a bit of an answer towards Hellion Cyclone, because that's what he's been dying to so far. As you see, the roaches continuing to run up in towards the natural. I tell you what, there's not a lot to defend roaches, but there's also not a lot of roaches. That's why the Liberator probably came back home. MarineLorD realizing, well, I don't have many tanks right now. My Cyclone count isn't exactly there just yet. Yeah, the roaches, though, with the Liberators around, again, there's not too many. It's like not an overwhelming amount or anything. Hellion's going to run by, so they get out of reach of those first few roaches that are already up here. So if Stephano was not making any use at home, he might be in some trouble. But he has got roaches on the way out. So it's quite a lot of Hellions, so might cause some complications. As he sees the roaches, though, and MarineLorD respects it, he backs away. He's not going to get overzealous. MarineLorD just killed an Overlord and actually supply blocks Stephano quite heavily. 114 over 106, still waiting for Overlords to finish. Just now they're finishing up. GSCVs across the map, Roach Ravager coming in as the third base tries to be taken. Those Ravagers are now something that can actually answer the Liberators, at least when they are sieged up, but the question becomes, do you corrosive bar down the Liberators, or do you corrosive bar down the siege tanks? Because there is tank production here from MarineLorD. He does not go for the Cyclones yet. He does have Magfield on the way, so it's probably possible he switches into the Cyclones and that more mobile style. But initially wants the tanks to make sure you can stay safe, take that third base, and hold it down. Of course, the bars dropping there, but it's not enough to actually kill a Liberator. The fact there's only 2 Ravagers remaining was a shame, and now he only has 1. The attempt to move in and get those corrosive and get those get that Liberator didn't really pay off for him, just losing a few units. As you see Stephano pulling all the way back down to the bottom. 4 Thatch from Stephano again is coming up as well. What's up, Fatty987, my man? How you doing with the 26 months? Monster resub right there. Thank you so much. 2 years, 2 months, all the 2s. Appreciate it. Can we get some love in the chat for that one? As you see the Hellions running along, they're going to see the 4th base up at least. There's a 5th base coming in too. A couple of Hellbats into the main. Again, MarineLorD just doing what MarineLorD does, which is being pretty much everywhere he can be at one time. The Hellions just going to be killing this off. Wow. That's actually kind of insane. I love this. Oh my god, that's so smart. So what he just did is he morphed a bunch of the Hellions, or Hellbats, back into Hellion mode, because he knew the other 2 would more or less kill it, and if not, he could dive back in. But if they were all in Hellbat mode and those Roaches arrive, he probably loses a lot more, because the Roaches get here, attack, and they move here and attack when the Hellbats have finally morphed into Hellions. And it probably just means he gets probably about half of those Hellions rather than 2 or 3 of them. Picks up a couple now. Liberator is a little late to siege, and tanks as well, but in the end, it's good to defend as the 4th base coming into position. On the top side, the Swarm Hosts are finally out of the map, though. Something we see used all of the time against the mech styles. Oh, man, tell you what, Stephano just sort of sat around and took that fight there. Oh, here come the Locusts. Oh, they drop down on depots, though, which means they have to do a little bit of a wander in towards the actual mineral line. That loses some time. Again, Cyclones have Magfield now, and they are starting to come through and be used. These Locusts killed about, I feel like these Locusts have been killed like 15-ish SCVs, but it feels like they should have done so much more if they just landed straight into the middle line, because obviously, oh no, obviously MarineLorD wasn't ready for it, but I tell you what, these Swarmers are absolutely vulnerable, and they are again completely punished for being left on the map, vulnerable, alone. They have to wait for the Locusts to be ready again before they can fire, and so they're just not able to do anything. Is every Swarm Host going to go down? Meanwhile, Roaches are going to try and desperately press forwards. Oh, he just doesn't kill the last Swarm Host by like 1 hit. But that basically, that does reset the Swarm Host count entirely. And now there's going to be 2 Swarm Hosts, and that doesn't really leave you with much. What a blunder by Stephano. Absolutely devastating for his opportunities and chances in this game, I feel. And we've seen Cyclones, tanks, libs all gathered up. A few Roaches here from Stephano will run by in towards the 3rd base. Cyclones come through and they're going to lock on to clean up a bunch of these already. So So if your SCV's going down, don't think MarineLorD's all too concerned. He's holding a pretty comfortable 4 base here. I mean, the Zerg's on 5. He's got the gases up as well, so Stephano's not doing bad in terms of economy. But look at this push from MarineLorD, and what on earth does Stephano have to stop it? Mass Roach and 2 Vipers. Maybe get that 3 in a moment, like, but I don't want to get your hopes up, but there is going to be 3 Vipers. No, it's 3 Vipers just isn't really enough to do anything here. Like, you Blinding Cloud a couple tanks, cool, that's nice and all, but does it make a difference? Probably not. As you see those Cyclones coming through, already cleaning up a bunch of creep. Locks on, starts to kite back, and obviously these tanks siege you now, and you can just start leapfrogging these like 2 or 3 at a time forward, so you can just kind of really encroach on this base while staying fairly safe. Or you can be a baller and just siege everything, but I guess that's because he's going to kill this base. And MarineLorD's playing this out slowly, as this Liberator doesn't actually siege on top of anything, so not quite in range to deal damage. As Hellbat's in the natural as well. Well, the 3rd base, sorry. But yeah, MarineLorD says, well, I don't want to actually push further in here. I just want to go down the right side and deny your base over there, because as long as I'm denying your bases, I'm actually pretty content. And with the setup that he has, he's got a great setup to do that. Drones are cool, kind of transferring between bases as well, as the Terran player is already in position. And I mean, you can just see Stephano is taking so much damage. The tank spread is very good as well, so the Vipers are going to be very hard pressed to find an engagement which actually suits them at all. There was a base over here that gets cancelled. Stephano's not having any of that. Realizes that's not coming up. He isn't going to be stubborn about it. Just cancels it right away. As out of the French players here today, MarineLorD is absolutely destroying. And this is the second French player he's played. And looking like it's going to be the second 2-0 as well. Because right now he is absolutely dominant. As he continues to make his way through the lower bracket of this WCS qualifier. The lock-ons are good to get a couple overlords low. And, well, I mean, time to counter-attack with some roaches denied just by general reinforcements. Nothing special, again. Just the fact that Stephano has so little and MarineLorD has so much, with 5 bases now up. His 5th base just building in location at the moment. 21 drones have gone down. Stephano is reduced to long-distance mining the 4th base. That's how bad this is for him at the moment. That's how desperate he is for just a little bit of economy. Cyclone goes down. The Highs and the Queen's able to pick off another Cyclone. Again, multiple command centers building too, so he's going to have bases all over. He already has a planetary over here. I actually thought that was one of the building bases, but no. He has 3 more command centers to, you know, probably morph a couple into orbitals, probably fly 1 out to the gold base as well. Just secure the economy, have some extra mules as well. Means he can survive on much fewer SCVs if it gets to that point, although that's obviously not happening just yet. Liberator sieging up, an Inductor too on a couple of libs. Tanks being pulled forwards. I mean, feels like MarineLorD doesn't have much left behind us at the moment. I guess that's because his army is probably on the way across the map. He obviously has the worker lead, which we're not used to seeing a Terran have. So his army supply is actually pretty similar to that of the Zerg. As you see 4 tanks here. Try and kill what they can, but honestly, Hydra's don't do that badly against tanks, it seems. Well, meanwhile, Hellions and Cyclones showing up once again. It's a lock-on onto the only mining base Stephano really has, because that natural is more or less mined out, or at least it will be in the next few minutes, because it has got, what, like, it's actually got about 1,500 resources on it, so it's something at least, but, man, he sees this creep as well, so he knows this base is here too, so guess what, that's another dead base. Stephano tries to transfer his drones over. MarineLorD will scan, sees the Hydras coming in, will just stick around. I don't think he cares about losing a Cyclone if he kills the base, because it means that there's so much economy lost from Stephano, and obviously that is a very big deal. If you look at the incomes, you can just see, in fact, let's look at it on over here. You can just see the income from MarineLorD has been up and up and up in terms of the advantage he has over Stephano for the last 5 minutes or so. And even before then, there was points where Stephano was in the lead, but there's definitely bigger spikes for MarineLorD as well. And that's because MarineLorD has controlled this entire game from start through to finish. You can see the army supply too. I mean, Zerg meant to have a bit of a larger army than his opponent, but you can see that that's obviously slipping away. It's coming back a little bit now, but I mean, Cyclones press in, and I mean, again, eventually what you're going to do, you're just going to keep long distance mining bases because you can't mine from them because MarineLorD keeps killing them. You can't do that all day. MarineLorD playing this super cautiously at the moment, super careful. Doesn't want to be over aggressive or anything. Doesn't want to throw this away stupidly. Again, after this, he plays sort of in the next round of the lower bracket, and then I think he plays Geralt after that as well. Honestly, MarineLorD's one of my favorites to qualify. He's a great player right now. he seems very strong. He has done since he returned to the game. So, yeah, no, not really surprised at all to see him doing well at the moment. Besides, the way to go to qualify a couple of matches after this one. As the Hellions chase up the ramp, and the Hydras are going to take a bit of a beating. The Liberators keep coming through. The Abduct's obviously kind of nice. I mean, the Hydras alone on the ground just don't do that much with the Blue Flame Hellions. Especially when they get clumped up. Like, it is brutal. More units here from MarineLorD just ready to join up and come across the map. It's another dead base, would you believe it? It goes down. Stephano has a base in the bottom at least. The fact this is third and it's so healthy, 17 minutes in the game, is so... It just tells you how little Stephano has been able to mine. Down resources lost again. The income is down. We are watching Stephano just die a very slow death, guys. And MarineLorD has just been very particular and cautious about it. Which, of course, he's very much so within his right to do so. Especially in such an important event. And as the units come down to the bottom side. Thank you so much, by the way, WildCell SO. Thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. As you do see, the Cyclones and Hellions picking up a couple more creep tumors. Liberators going in siege. I mean, they have Liberators now as well, and there's so many of them. You can't actually really fight Liberators with Hydras because they actually go down so quickly. And if the Libs have range, that's pretty ridiculous. You can see the Hydra's able to pick off a Viking. You're going to be seeing on the bottom side a couple more lock-ons, some drones going down. It's just another base that's fallen. Stephano is really, really just not giving up. Not giving up at all. When the reinforcements are like 5 Cyclones and 5 Liberators, I think you meant to know you're in trouble. That's crazy. MarineLorD has the entire map too. Not really showing it because all the action is just MarineLorD consistently pushing down on the bottom left-hand side. Cyclones locking on towards these Overlords. Here you go, Libs get pulled right into that fight, but there's not even enough Hydra damage to actually pick them all off as they come in. As Stephano will make one last stand, but it will not be enough. MarineLorD will take it down 2-0 in this best of 3. And again, as mentioned multiple times,